I'm here with Jason, the Slam Master from Ingested, to talk about their new record, The Tide of Death and Fractured Dreams, out April 5th on Metal Blade Records. Always a pleasure to talk to you, always a pleasure to see you. How's things going on your side of the Atlantic?
Yeah, really well. I'm just excited. I'm excited to get this album out. We've been sitting on it for a year. We recorded it like 4 weeks after we released the last album, Ashes Lie
4 weeks
Still.
after.
So yeah. We released Ashes Lie Still in November 2022, and then in December 2022 we went into the studio and recorded Tide of Death and Fractured Dreams. So we've done that by design. So it's like, because we had the album ready to go. So we were like, well, why waste time? Let's go and get it recorded. And then that gives us a year to prepare ourselves for the release of the album. So we can get music videos done. We can make sure the album art looks amazing.
It does.
The whole package is fantastic. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, like we've got all the merchandise ready, all everything looks amazing. So we've been able to really take our time with it and make sure we're properly prepared. So yeah, I'm just excited that people are finally being able to hear it and watch the music videos as well. We've released two music videos, Paragon of Purity, and then we just released one the other week called Pantheon, which I'm really proud of because I made all the props and did all the special effects work for that video. So like I'm really proud of it.
Wow. That is really cool. That is really cool. Uh, Before we talk about the record, let me ask you about the title of the record because it's not every day that you see a title this long that you need a dictionary to kind of figure it out. What the hell does it mean? So, what inspired you guys to go with the Tide of Death and Fractured Dreams?
Well, the title comes from a lyric that Sean wrote. I think it's in the song "Endless Machine." I'm pretty sure it is. And when Sean shown us the lyrics for that song, me and Lynn were like, "Yo, that line's heavy, man. Like that line's like really deep." And we felt that that line kind of perfectly encapsulated what this album is like and the journey that we've been on to get to this point. And yeah, like we at first we were umming and ahhing about it because we were like, oh, it's a bit wordy, isn't it? It's a bit long. But then we were just like, we like it, so let's do it. We think it's perfect. When the fuck have we ever thought? When the fuck have we ever worried about what anybody else thinks? We were like, fuck this. Like
I
this
mean,
is
if
what
you
we
if
want.
you
It's
worried about
perfect
other
for
people,
it.
you probably wouldn't be making this music.
Exactly. Like we're a band that's always done everything on our own terms. We've always done exactly what we want to do, how we want to do it, and when we wanted to do it. So we were just like, nah, this is perfect. This perfectly encapsulates our journey as a band up until this point. So yeah, so we went with it.
So, considering that the albums are very close together in terms of the time in which they were done, I mean, not in the times in which they were done, because one was done way before the time it was released, but
Yeah.
then you recorded this one right after. But I find the two very different from one another. It feels like there's a really long gap between them, at least in terms of the sound and the experience that you guys created. This is a far less dense record and is definitely a more dynamic album. So what inspired a little bit of that change to go with a record that maybe it's a little bit easier to digest, but still has so much texture and so much to offer?
I think to tell the story of the Tide of Death and Fractured Dreams, you have to go back to the album that preceded it, which was Ashes Lie Still, which was our Metal Blade Records debut. Um, that album came from a very rough period for us as a band and as individuals. Like we were all going through various shit, dealing with our own personal demons and stuff, like whether that's depression, addiction, whether that's to drugs, alcohol, and dealing with loss as well. Um, so that was a really dark patch for us, and I think that album really reflected that, like what we were going through at the time. But that album was about releasing that and letting go of those feelings and getting it all off our chest, so to speak. Whereas The Tide of Death and Fractured Dreams is us as a band and individuals coming through the other side of that experience and being stronger, bigger, better, and happier than we've ever been in our lives. So this album is different because we're coming at it from a different perspective in life. Whereas Ashes Lie Still, like I said, was about us letting go of all those negative experiences and negative feelings and emotions. The Tide of Death and Fractured Dreams is us having a rebirth, so to speak, if you know what I mean. We're back, like better than we've ever been before. We're three guys from working class backgrounds, from council estates. We're here with a massive chip on our shoulder and a point to prove. And this album is about taking your fucking head off your shoulders. That's what this album's for.
And I know every band always says that their latest record is their best record, but I honestly feel like this is the best album you guys have ever done. When you look at the sound that you provide, when you look at the vocal dynamics of the record, when you look at the guest vocalists, when you look at the length of the album, the design, that instrumental track that breaks the record, finishing off the album with A Path Once Lost, which I think it's one of the greatest songs you guys have ever created. So, I mean, this album is flawless from start to finish. And one of the things that I thought really enriched the experience was your vocal performance, not just because of the clean vocals, but the way you deliver the vocals on this album felt like you were a little bit more loose. It felt a little bit more organic. It felt a little bit more natural. Was that a response to that coming out brighter on the other side, that rise of the phoenix, if you will, that vocal performance of yours as well?
Well, thank you for a start. I think we all really knocked it out of the park on this album. Um, the clean vocals are Sean, by the way.
Is it?
A guitar, yeah, yeah. Like
I thought it was
seriously,
you.
nah, because my clean vocal, I've done clean vocals before, like on the last album with like Shadows in Time and stuff like that. But my clean vocals are a bit more sludgy, like a bit more kind of like Crowbar, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
They're a lot more
Okay.
gravelly, yeah. So, but yeah, Sean does the fucking clean vocals on this, and he didn't even know he could sing, right? So
Good,
he's
dude.
doing, I know,
The
right? So
clean vocals on this record are fucking
really
phenomenal.
good,
Yeah.
really good, like, and yeah. So that was like he basically, so he wrote A Path Once Lost, and he demoed, like he'd recorded himself singing it at home and was like, oh, this is the idea that I've got for this song, like, and he sent it to us, and he sent it as a demo, as in like he sent it and then it's like, here's what I want you to do. But his he sang it so well, and me and Lynn were like, yo, what the fuck? Like, and he's like, he didn't even think it was good or anything. And we were like, yo, this is awesome. Like,
This is
and then
amazing.
we were like, nah, you should sing this song. Like, you should sing this. Like, because if I sing it, it's gonna be different. It's gonna be a totally different song. Do you know what I mean? And it'll have a completely different tone to it. Like, so you should sing this. It's perfect as it is. So yeah, like, yeah, he didn't even think he could sing. He just thought he was just, oh yeah, this is just an idea that I've got. And we were just like, no, this is it. Like, and yeah, he smashed it. And um it's, I think again, it's one of them things where it's him just doing that demo and then us all realizing that he can sing has like unlocked another pathway for us, something else that we can now do, which is
Mhm.
something that we've done with every album that we've had, which is why, yes, they all our albums sound like Ingested, but each album has its own character and its own personality, and they're all different and individual from each other. And now it's like now we've got another tool in the toolbox. Do you know what I mean? Like, because
Yeah.
now we know that Sean can sing, which is amazing. And I agree. I think A Path Once Lost is one of the best songs that we've ever written. Like
Without a
I
shadow
love
of a
it.
doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, because it's such a roller coaster ride. The way it starts off with those clean vocals, very melancholic,
Mm,
almost like a ballad, if you will.
yeah.
And then you guys like turn the knob all the way to 11, and the song just completely flies out, and you get that boom of sound coming at you, those harsh vocals. I think it's one of the greatest songs, and it's not only it's a great song, where you guys place it on the record elevates the quality of the track too. I think that's really important, and I don't think you can minimize the fact that the way you put the album together has a great impact on how much better the songs sound because of the sequence in which you're getting them.
Well, I'm glad you've mentioned that, because that's something that we're really conscious of, like with our last few albums, is the the story of the album, not like in a narrative way, not as in like, oh, it's like a concept album or anything like that, but I mean like the journey that the album takes you on from start to finish. There's a
Mhm.
there's a clear beginning, there's a middle, there's an end, and it takes you on a journey, and these peaks and troughs and ebbs and flows, and then there's a calm in the middle of the storm, and
Yeah.
the whole, like, that's all by design, because back in the day we used to write albums as in a way that it was like, oh, let's just write 10 bangers and stick them on a CD. Do you know what I mean? And that was great, and it worked for us at the time. um but now, when we look back, to us, from our perspective, that's not an album, that's 10 bangers on a CD.
Yeah, it's just a
Do you know what I
compilation.
mean? Whereas now we write and construct an album, and it's the track listing, the song choices, everything is all by design. So it's like you can listen to these songs individually and they stand alone, and they're fantastic. But it's designed as a whole package. It's designed as an album for you to listen to from track 1 to track 10 in
Yeah,
one go.
and if you
Like,
look at it, like I thought the album from that standpoint was genius because you also have to be conscious of your own sound. You know you have a heavy sound, and if you're going to create an album that the listener is going to be able to digest from beginning to end, and at the end you don't feel like, you know what, that was good, but I need a break. Like if you want
yeah,
the album to have that playability, you have to create the right design in order for the listener to feel to not feel overwhelmed by what the record is offering. So I thought you guys placing one of the feature tracks before the instrumental track, placing one of the feature tracks after the instrumental track, closing with The Path Once Lost. All of these songs come at the right place at the right time to give the album the right breaks, you know?
yeah, yeah. I agree. It's that is how we designed it. Is that,
I,
like I said, like you've got the instrumental in the middle.
in the
That's
middle.
that's what we call the eye of the storm, because it's like it's been it starts off with a breakneck pace, and it gets more intense, and it gets more intense, and then there's this moment of like clarity in the center of it, which is the eye of the storm, where it's calm. And then bang, you come
Back
straight
again.
back out of that. And then you're back into the storm, you're back into the whirlwind. And then right at the end, as you're coming out of the whirlwind, you've got A Path Once Lost. And it just
It's beautiful.
sends you off into the sunset.
I didn't know Sean had it in him. I have to send him a message.
Yeah.
I have to let him know how good he is. You guys have Josh Middleton of Silosis on a track. You guys have Mark Hunter of Chimeria on another track. Did you create these songs with both of them in mind, or there was something missing that you felt like both of them could bring something extra to the table?
So the way we do guest vocals is I think we do guest vocals in a different way to 99% of other bands in this scene, so to speak. because one of the things that I hate more than anything, right, is I don't want to get negative here, but I'm gonna have to. Um, in this genre, in this scene, you see it everywhere. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I say it. Guest vocal spots. You'll see this band featuring this vocalist, and you'll go, "Oh, sick!" and you'll put it on, and the whole song will go by, and you're like, "Where the fuck's this vocalist?" And then right at the end, for about 15, 20 seconds, there'll be like a fucking breakdown or something, and then this vocalist will come on, do a bit of vocals, and then that'll be it. And you're just like, well, what's the fucking point? Like, do you know what I mean? What's the point to that? Like, and I'll tell you what the point is. For me, I think that's clout chasing. I think
It's more it's
you've got that
marketing
guy.
as well. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? You're
yeah,
trying
but
to
it's
upsell whatever it is that you're doing.
yeah, it's doing it in a weak way. Do you know what I mean? You've done it because you just want their name on your song, so it does well in an algorithm, or you get more fucking clicks or whatever, and it does nothing musically or artistically for the song. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's artistically bankrupt to me, and it's just obvious, and I can't be asked with that shit. Like if that works for people, then whatever. Like, do you know what I mean? It's their band, do whatever you want. But for me, that shit just doesn't fly. Because it's like a problem only in our genre. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like if you look at like the chart, like the Billboard top whatever, say you've got a song and it's like Beyonce featuring Lady Gaga, right? It's not fucking Beyonce singing for 3 minutes and then Lady Gaga comes on a breakdown for like 20 seconds at the end. Do you know what I mean? She's a part of the whole song.
Yeah, it's
So
normally a duet of
that's
some sorts.
exactly like so that's how we do guest vocals. They're on like you want them to be a part of the song. Like that's the whole point. So when we do guest vocals, they're a huge part of the song from start to finish. And but with that comes the balance of making sure that the song is right for that vocalist. Because I want a guest vocalist. If I want someone to do guest vocals, it's because of who they are as a vocalist. It's their the personality of their vocals. Do you know what I mean? And I need we need that song to work with who they are as a vocalist. So I'm not just going to slap someone on a song just because. Do you know what I mean? But then again, the way that we write music is we don't write for specific reasons. So then it's like we're not just going to go, oh, we want this guy, so we better write a song like this. Do you know what I mean? It's so then we have to what we have to do is we just have to wait until that specific song just naturally happens. Do you know what I mean? So with Josh, it was like we've known him for years and we've always wanted to work with him. We've known him for years and years because Silosis came up through the same UK scene around the same time as we did. So we've been crossing paths and we've been friends for years and we've always wanted to work together. But the right song just never came along until Expect to Fail. And then we were just like, yo, Josh, we got this song. We think, you're gonna sound sick on it. Are you up for it? And he's like, yeah, send me the song. 4 hours later, he sends it back and his vocals are on it and it sounded amazing. Mark Hunter, that was a bit different. This was different from how we usually operate with guest vocals because for me and Sean, Chimera are such an important band. Massively influential to us. Like for me and Sean, The Impossibility of Reasons, like one of the top 5 metal albums of all time. Like we think it's a perfect album, it's flawless. And we've always had this like bucket list of like guest vocalists. You know the one where you like it'll never happen, but that'd be cool, wouldn't it? Like, do you know like that? And Mark Hunter's always been on that list, but because usually we only really do guest vocalists with our friends, with people that we know, and we've never had any like connection or relationship with like Chimera or Mark or anything like that. So we always just thought, oh, it's a pipe dream. Do you know what I mean? Like it's literally a bucket list thing. It'll never happen. And then weirdly enough, when we were in the studio recording the album, we went out for a break and went to like a gas station just to get some snacks and drinks and that. And Sean was on his phone and he was on Twitter and he's like, fucking hell. Mark Hunter's just like tweeted or retweeted. I don't have Twitter, so like I don't know what it is. Like, but he's like tweeted or retweeted or done something like that. And I'm like, what the fuck? Mark Hunter from Chimera? And he's like, yeah. Like, and we're like, what the fuck? That's mental. And so Sean just messaged him and was like, yo, Mark, like, thank you so much for the kind words. Like, we're massive fans. Like, honestly, that's really made our day. Like, thank you. And he's like, he replies and he's like, oh, no worries, love the band. And we're like, ah, right. And then a few days later, I finished recording the song In Nothingness. And I'm listening back to it over and over and over again, like in the booth and that. And I'm just like, just something, just something like missing from it. Like, and I couldn't put my finger on what it was. And so I carried on listening to it. And then I'm listening to the hook, like the chorus. And in my head, I can hear
Marks.
like Mark Hunter, like singing, like, you know, or not Mark. Well, yeah, Mark Hunter, basically. I can hear his, like, you know, like the clean vocals in Chimera, like singing over it. And I'm just like, that sounds sick. That sounds amazing. Like, and so then me, Lynn, and Sean are talking about it. And Sean's like, should I just like message him and ask him? Because like I said, that's not usually how we operate. Like usually it's always like someone that we know. But we were just like, because he'd messaged, because obviously he'd spoke to him like a couple of days before. We were just like, I think it must have just been on my mind. And then me and Lynn were just like, well, I mean, what's the worst he can say? No. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's the worst he can say? No. If you don't ask, you'll never
Yeah.
know. Like, so
And you're
just
never
ask
gonna
him.
get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Sean messaged him and just said, like, hey Mark, um, we're in the studio. We've just finished a song that we really think that you would shine on and your vocals would like completely elevate the song. We were just wondering if you fancied collaborating on it. And Mark was like, yeah, send me the song, absolutely. So we sent it him. A few days later, he sent it back, and we were just like, oh my God. Like, oh my God, it sounds perfect. Like, it literally sounds perfect. He does these aggressive vocals, and then on the hook, he does the clean vocals, and it was like perfect. This is actually perfect. This is like way better than how I heard it in my head. Like he just nailed it, and we got to we got to tick off a bucket list like vocalist that we never thought that would ever happen. So yeah, that was a bit weird. It was a bit out of the ordinary for us, but yeah, it was
It worked.
awesome, and I
It
think I
worked
think
out
it's
really
worked
good.
out great. Yeah,
Yeah, it worked out.
thanks.
It's one of my favorite songs on the album because what he adds to that chorus is really what sets the song apart,
Yeah,
gives it its unique DNA, its unique fingerprint, and makes the song so dynamic vocally. Has such a great impact. What he adds to that track. Do you look at the genre that you're in? Because you're talking about the guest vocalist in terms of how the genre and the scene has that effect of bringing it in a little bit for cloud chase, like you're saying.
yeah.
But in general, when you look at the genre and when you look at what you guys are doing, do you ever worry that what you guys are doing are not necessarily what the genre currently is? Are you do you ever afraid is not the right word, but do you ever become concerned that you guys push the envelope and the envelope may end up too far away from the postal office?
Um, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit like what anybody else is doing. If I'm being brutally honest, I used to. I used to worry about it. I used to be like, oh, is it good enough? Oh, what's this band doing? Why aren't we doing that? Oh, like I don't give a fuck anymore. Like I literally couldn't give a shit. Like as long as we're having fun, doing what we're doing, and we can pay our bills, and we're leaving a lasting impact, a legacy. Do you know what I mean? That's all I care about. I honestly, like, swear to God, I couldn't give a shit what any other band is doing. Like,
Y- y- y-
it's
The
not,
reason
it's
I'm
not
at
like,
the,
it's not like, it's not anything I worry about anymore.
the reason
Like,
I'm asking you
I'm,
is because the previous record was extremely successful for you guys, extremely
yeah,
successful. You know, with the touring, everything, like you had great reviews. So a lot of bands in your shoes would be like, all right, let's continue down that path because that album did a lot for us. So let's continue down that path. This album goes on a completely different path. Not a lot of bands would have the guts, the balls, the nerve, if you will, to release an album like this, considering what the previous record had in store for the fans. I think it's great that you guys are doing that because I don't want to hear two albums alike back to back. But what I'm saying is within the scene, you don't see many bands doing what you guys just did.
yeah. I think, I mean, obviously, I can only talk about it from my perspective, but I think there's a lot of bands that just find something that works for them, and then just they're comfortable to just stay in that wheelhouse, and that's fine. That's fine for them if that's what they want to do. But for us, that's never been an option, like, because we can't do that because we'd get bored. And the thing is, we're making music for us. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're making music for us and we're doing it because we enjoy doing it and we love it. If we start if we start pigeonholing ourselves and only doing what we think might be successful, then that's when it stops being fun and it becomes like a job and a chore. And that's when we don't want to do that. We once it becomes like that, when it stops being fun and we're not doing it for our own reasons and we're doing it to appease someone or something else, it's like it's dead. Like, do you know what I mean? We're just not going to do it anymore. So that's why we just do things the way that we do things. We just do things for us. We do it our way, and we'll always do that. And we're kind of like, I always liken Ingested to like a musical shark. So it always has to keep moving. Always. Like, it can't stop. It can't go backwards because it'll drown and it'll die. So it has to just keep moving all the time, all the time, all the time. And that's just how we work. That's just it. Because that keeps it fresh for us. And it keeps it exciting and fun for us. Because I don't want to do the same shit over and over again. Like you said, you don't want to listen to the same thing over and over again. Like, do you know what I mean?
Everything
It's
has
like
its
when we
time.
release a new album, it's a new album. It's not going to be Surpassing the Boundaries Part 2 or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be a new album, like new music. And that's just always our mindset. We just want to always just keep moving, keeping it fun and keeping it fresh for us.
I have one last quick question for you. You guys are embarking on a massive European tour, but when do we get to see you guys embarking on another massive North American tour?
Hopefully, we should be returning to North America around the fall time, I think. We've
That's
got
good.
stuff in the works.
I'll take it.
That's about all I can say at the moment. Like, you
I'll
know
take
how
it.
it is.
I'll
But
take it.
yeah, that's what we're looking at. So
All
should be
right.
good. Should be really
All right,
good.
man. So I'll see you in North America around that time of the year.
Yeah.
I was gonna say best of luck with the release, but you don't need any luck with this. This album is outstanding. I think you're gonna be just fine. It's gonna be just fine with this record.
I
I'll
hope
send a
so.
message to Sean. I'll give him props for those clean vocals on the track.
Yeah,
I honestly
absolutely.
thought it was you. I thought you found
Nah.
a different level within your vocal box that you could go to. I'm blown away that it's Sean, so I have to give him
Yeah,
some.
you have to big him up on it because I want to release A Path Once Lost as a single. And then when we release it as a
You
single, that means that
should.
we gotta play it live, and that means he's gotta sing it
You gotta
live.
sing it. I'm gonna send him a message today. Like today, I'm gonna send him a message. I'm gonna tell him how good he is. That it's
Hell yeah.
a Grammy style vocal that he did on that track that deserves a nomination. Man, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. All the best to you guys, and I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Pedro. It's always a pleasure, mate.
Take care, man. Bye.
Cheers, mate. Bye bye.